Good morning, welcome back to the channel. So another week already, just flying by. It's already Wednesday morning here, in a short week too, with the Easter long weekend coming up, and then that is backed up by Anzac Day the following weekend. So a couple of short weeks back to back, but we're still pushing on, trying to get done what we can get done. So in the last video, sort of showed the area that was taken up once we start putting cars back together. So we've sort of bombed right into the Chevy coupe to get as much of the paneling and body. We've also been progressing on the Chevy truck. Well, not really we, Brendan, to be honest. It's all pretty much Brendo's paint and body department now. So we'll have a bit of a look at that one. So yesterday, Brendan was spline blocking this side, all the door into the fender, panel to panel. And he's just about got that ready for another coat of polyester primer. Just gonna poly that block one more time and then seal that up in 2K. He's pretty much ready to do the same with the roof and the back of the cab. And then that really brings us to the grille. So we took the grille out. That's the original 1948 Chevy grille. We took that out and we've sent that out to WA Dip and Strip so that we can have nice bare metal to start with our repairs. That was repaired and put into a primer, but that was probably going back about 12 months ago. So just a little bit worried that moisture might have affected that over the time. So we'll take it right back to bare metal, put it into epoxy and then build up from there. But after waiting a long time for us, Tyson's drag car's back in the schedule. Thanks heaps to Tyson for being so patient with us. It's just, we've been full on, and we want to get this happening ready for the summer coming up ahead, and want to go and do some drag racing with Tyson and have some fun. So like to get across to Tailem Bend. Tyson's got family interstate as well as I have. I've never been to the Tailem Bend drag strip, so we're looking forward to doing some of that this summer. So we'll have a bit of a look at where we're at with that. So this is Tyson's VN SS drag car. That's an LS2 that I built for one of his Commodores originally. We ran it in a street car for a year or so, and then we got it back to the workshop, gave it a bit of a freshen up, did some CNC ported cylinder heads, some matched intake set up on there, and we dropped that into his roller. So then we did whole heap of tube work in the front end, mounted radiators, plumbing, pretty much all kinds of stuff in that front end. Breather tanks, overflow tanks. And now we had all the rear sheet metal done, fuel cell mounted. We did a lot of modifications. This car was already caged when it came to us, but we weren't very happy with the rear section of cage. So we did a lot of work, basically replaced the entire rear cage. The front section, the middle section was really good. It was like a funny car style cage. Whoever built that had done a really nice job. We did some modifications in the floor area, which we've still got to do some finishing off. Just trimmed that center out with a nice piece of rolled rod all around the edge, create a nice smooth edge. Now, the one thing that we've been, to be honest, just waiting for the right time to attack it. We've got a full set of fiberglass doors, so they do accept the original handle, which is a good thing. But as you can imagine, they're only built for race car doors, so gaps and things like that. I mean, yeah, it's a race car, but it'd still be nice to get things to fit up a bit better. So Scooter made that hinge assembly yesterday, and he did a great job of making that. It's getting to the point now where sort of, you know, we can have a bit of a chat about a plan, and he can execute it very, very well. So, you know, he's only a second-year apprentice, and his welding is right up there with probably anyone that's ever worked with me, for me, whatever. In fact, I would say it's as good as anyone, and he's only 2 years in. So, yeah, his kid's going places, that's for sure. So hopefully he sticks with it and, yeah, keeps producing the goods. But so yeah, the mission is today to press on to the passenger door. We're not going to worry about hinging that one. The tub takes up a fair bit of area, so we're going to utilise some quick release fasteners or Zutzes. We're just not quite sure yet, but the plan will come together, I'm sure. Then for myself, I've got to press on with getting as much of the coupe back together as I can. Please ignore the trailer wheels on this. A lot of people have asked about the horrible wheels. They are literally only on there to keep the vehicle rolling. They will not have anything to do with the car once it's finished. So yesterday managed to get the front fender on and finish the steering shafts. That was the only reason I hadn't put that fender on. And yeah, so steering's all hooked up now. And I've got to move on to mounting an Astra power steering pump on the other side. And there's heaps of room up under this fender, so I'm going to tuck that Astra power steering pump under the passenger fender and get that out of the way so that we don't have to look at it. And we'll have to mount a battery somewhere as well, so it'll either go in the engine bay somewhere, or I had considered doing something out off the frame under that fender. But there's a fine line between hiding stuff just for the sake of hiding it and actually keeping a practical car to work on. And this is a driver. It has not been built as a show car. The owner wants to use the hell out of it, so we'll probably stick with the battery in the engine bay, I think, just nice and easy. Anyway, time to get things open and get into the day. It's pretty early here on a Wednesday morning, so we'll get that. We'll get the doors open, crank the compressor up, make some noise, and we'll show you sort of what we got into fairly shortly. But there is one other big thing. I got 4 days, obviously Easter break, so my VK Commodore that I've been building for about 4 years is pretty much ready to fire up. So that's coming in on a tilt tray tomorrow while there's no cutting and grinding, because that's got a very expensive paint job on that one. And I'm going to prime up the oil system, punch all the fuses and electrical in, turn things on, do a few tests, and fingers crossed, fire it up and do a run in on the camshaft. I did cheap out and use a flat tappet camshaft in that engine. It's basically, how would you describe it? It's a 308, it's brand new. It's not a big dollar 308, it's just a rebuild engine, everything new. And Crow do a Group A sort of style cam grind that I've used in that one. What else is in there? Flat tops, it's about 10.5 to 1 compression. Hume Performance did a Rochester carby up for me because I wanted it to look, you know, VK under the bonnet. Not messy like they were back in the day. You know, we've relocated wiring and tidied everything right up, but did want to crack the bonnet and look at an old school 308. So that's coming in and I'm really excited. I think it might be time to finally fire that up. That'll give me the kick up the arse I need to mount the front seats, put the lower half of the dash together, and then push on with, I've got to do an engineer's report on that for the V8 and the 5-speed and the bigger brakes and things that we've modified, and then hopefully get off to registration. But anyway, for now, time to get the doors open and get into some work. So this is what I deal with most mornings, the tripping hazards, the joys of a small workshop. But before I went home last night, I actually had these big sheets of aluminium for the sleeper cab for the Chevy trucks, and I was kind of sick of tripping over them, so thought I'd hang back and get them trimmed up, glued and screwed on. So I usually just use Tech screws and then replace them with blind rivets once the glue's set. It just seems like an easy way to pull it in against the glue and get everything setting nice. But I didn't do any holes down the edges or around the top because we've got to make a full fiberglass top for this, and obviously wrap the corners. So I'll just drill one set of holes once the corners are wrapped and one set of holes to secure the fiberglass top. But yes, I've built trailers and things like that before, enclosed stuff, but I've never built a sleeper cab, so this is the first one. And it's definitely going to be a couple of challenges. We've got that beautiful transmission there that Simon from All Fast Converters built for us. That one uses the RTS SFI case and bell housing, and it's got all the bulletproof internals in that one. Breaking the cam in on my VK308. We've been going for about 15 minutes now, so about another 5 minutes, and then we can idle it down and have a real good look at how it sounds. Oil pressure's really good. Temp's about halfway, bolts are up. Going good. So just coming in with a Chevy truck here. And it's good with a bit of light reflection because you can actually see how straight Brendan actually has got this truck. It's come up $1 million. He did all the panels, blocked them all panel to panel, and as you can see a few hangers in that poly primer, but there's actually 3 coats of that on there that he'll block, you know, right down to pretty much nothing. And then the other day, something that really impressed me, I'll just try and get it in the light. It's a little bit hard to see, but there's a body line that runs up the cowl, through that body line there, and then up into the roof and across the roof. And I saw Brendan sort of, you know, fluffing around a little bit, looking at that and sort of marking a couple of things and looking again. And then I saw him pull out a laser level and literally run a laser level up the cowl, across the roof, and mask that off and then block to that line. And he just wasn't happy with how that line was off our initial blocking and bodywork. And I was blown away because that just tells me everything that like I need to know. For him to care like that and go like all out to try and really dial that line in, it just shows like effort off his own back, and just really pursuing, you know, the best possible job he could do for us. And I mean, I don't know about everyone else out there, but I've had some shocking stuff done in the last 10 years from other businesses, and Brendan, as a contractor for us, he has just raised the bar and really helped us, you know, take everything to another level as far as this restoration work goes, which is absolutely, you know, where we are getting more and more work and more sort of heading towards in our business. Like I'll reiterate, we'll always build race cars. Simple as that. We've got our own brand of race car we've been building for a very long time. That just won't stop. But we love the hot rod restoration scene, and if we can get better and better with each build, and you know, do some interesting things, and you know, some nice restyling using sort of 40s 50s cues, we're down with that all day long. But we'll keep going, see what else. Well, we're back again. That week just absolutely flew by. Didn't get a lot of time to film much stuff during that week, but it's Friday here on Easter long weekend, so we've got 4 days off in a row. So for me, it's a good time to get in the shop while no one's around and work on a car that I've been building for a few years now. It's a VK Commodore done up as a Blue Meanie Rep. It's a car I've built for myself. And we actually ended up with a little bit of time late yesterday afternoon to prime up the oil system with the tank you saw us build in a previous video, and fire it up and do the camshaft run in. That went absolutely flawlessly. Really the only thing we've got to do now is just have a bit of a look at the timing, set the base idle. Seems to be holding up a bit on high idle, so it could just be the fast idle adjustment on the electric choke. But we'll dig into that this morning and have a look around that and just make sure we can get that sorted. Still got interior to put together, finish off the lower half of the dash, a few little things. But you know, every day is a step closer, and this one is, yeah, definitely getting closer to licensing and registration. So also yesterday afternoon, Brendan did some high build poly on the right hand side of the Chevy truck. That side just needed a little bit more work, and when we actually did all the metal work on the truck, that was a really bad side for rust. So yeah, it was always going to be a bit more in body work to straighten that one out. But we'll spin the camera around and have a bit of a look at a couple of things that we peeled the cover back on Tyson's VN drag car. This week was all about getting these fiberglass doors on. They were fairly challenging actually. Scoot did a lot of work there. Basically, the hinge part of the door on the VN is steel, and it is part of the door. So we'll zoom right in on there. You can see we've made some plates off the fiberglass doors and basically made our own hinges so that the door can be hinged. It does use the factory handle, and the factory locking assembly does fit into the fiberglass door. Just haven't quite made up my mind as far as the inner handles go. On the rear, we've got the massive wheel tub, you know, that takes up half the door real estate. So we'll probably panel bond a piece of aluminium sheet in there and do a push button quick release at the back there using the ProFlow buttons. They work awesome. And then we'll just, you know, continue on. But we've got transmission here now to go in. We've got diff center ordered. What else have we got happening? We've got a set of Billet Street Pro front wheels coming for that, and a set of Mickey Thompson front runners. So we'll get them all fitted up, and then we can measure up for a tail shaft, get tail shaft mounted, and just sort of keep getting everything in the car so we can get to the stage where we can break it down for paint, and then final assembly and wiring. So another one that's going to wrap up this year and be on the track for summer. Should be a hell of a lot of fun. Little bit hard to see, but We've got the fenders on the coupe. We've got all the running boards on the coupe. She's just up in the air here, out of the way and covered up while we're doing some priming. Headlights on, bumpers on, fenders on, running boards on down this side. So yeah, we did a lot of work on this thing, and assembly and reassembly is going really well on it. We'll measure up for some wheels. I'm pretty keen to measure up and get some nice wheels on that coupe. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, you know, don't like the wheels. Well, they're just rollers, you know, they're just trailer wheels, so they're not staying on there. But today, so it's like I was saying earlier, I've got to dig in and just see what the fast idle hang up is. Could even be that the timing's just miles too far advanced. I haven't had a light on that at all. That was just literally, you know, set by ear for initial fire up. So we'll dig into that, and then probably while I'm clean, put the top half of the dash together and keep working on finishing off the interior. I've got some scuff plates to put down the carpets, and unfortunately I have to make some seat bases because the genuine seats are pretty much unobtainium. So we bought the Auto Technica copies. So we've just got some generic seat sliders that I've got to set up in the right height and position and do a bit of fabricating to make that happen. So we'll go along and do some work on the VK this morning, and then I've got a little bit of an interesting project. Whether I'll get to that today or tomorrow, we'll see, but we do so much metal shaping work, and to be honest, I watch a hell of a lot of YouTube on you know, metal shaping and hand forming and things like that. And I've got some machinery, bead rollers and planishing hammers and English wheels, but I want to make up a bit of a shaping station. I see that on a channel called Make It Custom, and I watch that all the time. Kyle Fisher, absolute legend. So yeah, I'm going to get into making up a bit of a shaping station, sort of similar to what I've seen on his channel. So we'll probably do a little bit of a video making that up. I'm not the greatest timber worker at all, and I've got some only very basic equipment. So we'll see if we can do some timber shaping and come up with a bit of a what do they call it? A bit of a shaping stump, and then we'll develop that on with sort of more, you know, dolly stations and things like that, so we can do some more panel work and repair patches and things. And not only that, but as some of these projects wind up, I'm sort of having this weird idea about building, you know, a concept car, whether we start off with something and completely restyle, or whether we go, you know, almost full race car spec on it like we do here and just make everything. I don't know, stay tuned, but there's some weird ideas getting kicked around in the head at the moment. Just got that VK fired up then. We'll get some heat into it, and then we'll throw a timing light on once the choke's open and everything's sort of settled down, and we'll just sort of have a look at whether that was too much advance, or whether there is something in the idle circuit that is actually holding that up a little bit. So see what we find. We'll just go and dig out a timing light. To be honest, I have no idea where that is, but it'll be here somewhere. Is that one buried in there? Test, pressure tester, no, that ain't it. No. The hunt continues. Electrical. It's in the electrical trolley. Right where I put it. Still trying to get organised. Well, it's a bit hard to see down in there, but we're right on about 8 degrees of static timing, which is pretty close to where we need to be to start off for idle. I actually think that accelerator cable's hanging it up. Yeah, it definitely is. We'll tweak that now. So yeah, that's all that was a bit of lack of free play on the accelerator cable. We'll just see what that dialed down to. Probably around the 700 rev mark, maybe just slightly low. We'll have a look at the idle mixtures and we might kick that up a little fraction. Well, I reckon that's about perfect. So I've got that set at 10 degrees static timing now. Just adjusted the idle mixtures, 1.5 turns out on the base plate. We've got that idling probably at around, I'd say, just under 900 RPM. Nice and smoothed out at that RPM. It's not a big cam in this motor. This is basically as, well, how would you put it? It's got higher compression than what one of these would have had back in the day. It's got a little bit of an improved cam, some cylinder head porting, and a quadrojet set up for that, and a nice exhaust system. And that's how we wanted this one. We wanted it to be a really good driver. Put the 5-speed in, and that way you could just hammer down, you know, from Perth all the way to Adelaide, you know, full noise and use the hell out of it. So yeah, you can hear that's just purring away all day at that. Smooth as silk, beautifully balanced engine. Obviously built here at SS Racetech, like everything else. Really nice deep exhaust note that'll only get deeper as it carbons up. Mint. Test rev? Why not? Hell yeah! So when all your woodworking tools are too small for these big suckers, what does a metal fabricator do? So I've been grinding away on a little project here. I made up a steel strap at the bottom, I'll show you in a sec, but it really kind of sucked because the timber's out of square. Just is what it is. But a ratchet strap works really well, so that might be the way forward for now. So I made that strap around the bottom, but it just isn't really holding the timber nice and tight. We're just starting to groove out the top of our stump. We'll set up the camera and we'll keep on trucking. Away on the stump. This is going to be my metal shaping stump. Check this out. So yeah, a bit of red jarrah dust, but we're getting there. Got some real nice depth, got some nice radiuses on the corners. We're absolutely filthy. So yeah, we're absolutely filthy. So something good must be happening. I don't know. So just been having a bit of a play with my new sandbags and knocking out a bit of a shape on the stump and just having a bit of a play, sort of seeing, you know, how quickly you can get some shape into something, and then just quickly ran it through the planishing hammer. So yeah, always time to practice and try and learn more skills. The possibilities are endless.